Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast, This Week in America. With over 5 decades of service to his country, Hal Davis, author of From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some, certainly not a man to be easily detoured or dissuaded from his mission. His book is a real testament of long-suffering, perseverance, loyalty, integrity, and patriotism. Hal's wit and humor, which he never outgrew even until today, allowed him to associate with highly recognized and well-established people. His life really began after he was kicked out by his father. He had a bitter childhood that continued well into his teens, but everything changed after he became a member of the United States Marine Corps. His success was not given to him on a silver platter. It was definitely a roller coaster adventure. Hal Davis is a distinguished U.S. Marine, retired with a career that spanned 22 years. In his heart, service for a lifetime. He grew up in Moorhead, Kentucky, and life back then was never easy. Deprived of all the good things that childhood normally brings, he remained steadfast in reaching his goals. He became a Tennessee State Trooper, FBI Special Investigator, United States Secret Service agent to 2 U.S. presidents, and a Marine and Naval criminal investigator. He had a fulfilling 42-year career. Hal Davis, author of From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some, our guest on This Week in America. Hal, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me.
Boy, so much to talk about. What a career that you've had, and you detail it all in your book, From an Outhouse to the White House, and Then Some, which pretty well covers everything that happened in your life. Let's start with this. I'm fascinated by being close to power, being close to 2 U.S. presidents. Boy, that would seem like a dream job. How difficult was that to leave that White House job?
You are on such a high alert status, and you are filling the blanks, as it were, constantly, and making sure the bubbles that reverberate around the president are constant.
Boy, I would think that would be a lot of pressure. That really, I mean, you're constantly looking over your shoulder, I would think.
Well, literally, you are
Yes.
watching people's eyes, their hands. You're making sure that there's no threat could possibly penetrate.
Well, I would just imagine the total concentration involved in doing that job, successfully. Oh, talk a little bit about the presidents and working with the First Family. What was that like? And did you really even get to absorb the First Family? Or are you so consumed with the job, you're really not paying much attention to them, to them as individuals? You're trying to protect them.
Well, I'll tell you, being the newbie, as it were, or the probie, I got to walk a lot of dogs and babysit a lot of grandchildren.
I was going to say, I asked you about the First Family. Should ask you about the first animals. That was sort of in the beginning. That was your assignment.
Yeah, that was, well, yes, it seemed to be there for a while, but then I started, more involved in the day-to-day operation. My first walk with the president over to the Oval Office was something to behold. I don't know that I touched the floor.
Oh, I can imagine. And it sounds like that memory is quite vivid. Who were the 2 presidents that you worked for, that you served?
It was President Richard Milhouse Nixon and Gerald R. Ford.
And what an interesting time in history to be there and see that basically from the inside. Our guest on the program is Hal Davis. His new book is From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some. The book is available wherever books are sold. I'll direct you to stratton-press.com. You can find that link and go directly to get information on the book by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. During this period, in fact, in other periods of your career as well, did you have a chance to work with foreign heads of state during your time there?
I was just amazed that one day it could be Golda Meir from Israel, then it could be the King of Jordan the next. It was a real eye opener, and you were able to have just casual conversation with these people because they would seek you out.
It's such an amazing story that Hal has to delivers in his book that he tells, and so much that I mentioned, and I'll go through again, all of the service that he's had to the country, starting with the U.S. Marine Corps. Let's go back and talk a little bit about Vietnam. Years later,
Yes,
decades
sir.
later, does that still linger in your mind? What transpired, what you saw transpired in Vietnam?
It never leaves me. I think about it every day. And the loss of my brothers, who were actually closer than brothers, if that's possible.
It was just such a gut-wrenching time in history, and watching that and seeing people and attempting to adjust after they left that environment. Did you have any problems in adjusting? What was that like for you? And let me even ask, have you still finally adjusted to that? It sounds like it's still something that's with you on a daily basis.
Well, it is. And I find that the busier I am, the better off it is. And I've stayed, as we speak of, sometimes I'm in the fast lane with my hair on fire 24/7. I just love to be involved in things and constantly meeting people and experiencing new things.
Well, and I mentioned that service is something that's been a lifetime commitment for you. The book by Hal is From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some. He's written another book that we'll be talking about on a future program, and we'll touch on that a little bit later in the interview. When you look back at all that you've been through, and what an amazing career. You take just any one of the various jobs that you held, and that would be like a dream job for many people, and you've got a whole compilation there of those. Would you do anything differently? I mentioned coming from very difficult circumstances to achieving so much. Would you do anything differently if you had it to do all over again?
Well, I certainly would. I got a lot smarter over the years, a lot smarter. I learned from others' mistakes, and as well as my own. I kept them to a minimum, fortunately. But as my wife likes to say, yeah, he couldn't keep a steady job. I said, go wait in the car, dear.
And I get the impression that life, it's still sort of a learning experience for you with everything that you've done. Now the writing career that you have, you're still learning, I would assume, every day. Is that true?
Oh, I've just been amazed at the entire process, and I have met some amazing people with Stratton Press. They've gotten me over a lot of hurdles, and I'm picking it up surprisingly well.
Well, you do such an excellent job in writing. The reviews are excellent, and I understand the book covers, which I really like. I'm looking at the one now, From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some. You actually designed these covers as well, so you're an artist as well as an author.
Well, maybe I stumbled into it, but it did turn out well, and I have to think just my experience over the years helped me do that.
Yeah, and I like that because it's very graphic, not a lot of words, not a lot of clutter. It says basically what the book is about. And the book is about all the experiences that Hal's had in his life, from an outhouse to the White House and then some. If you were to go back and maybe pull your most rewarding experience, or I'll even give you 2 or 3 experiences that you look back on, especially when you reflected in writing the book, what are some of the most rewarding that you can recall you would like to share with us?
Well, I'd like to think one of the most known would be when I was able to be the arresting officer of James Earl Ray when he escaped from Brushy Mountain State Prison. And I still have the handcuffs today. And I have other situations in the White House. My first time on Air Force One or Marine One. Well, I had been on Marine One on other occasions, but not certainly where the president or first family was involved. And then I've got to go back to number one, the day that they said I was a United States Marine has topped them all.
And that was the foundation, wasn't it, for the rest of your life? That discipline, that patriotism, that dedication to service. That was sort of the foundation for the rest of your life, I'm assuming, in looking at your life story.
Oh, no question about it. And it was solidified when I went to Parris Island again and became a drill instructor. And I just learned and picked up so much about self-discipline and the ability to listen a lot more than being heard.
Well, and that's something we all could learn from in real life, to listen a little bit. Don't necessarily talk all the time. Listen and absorb. I think we've touched on some of the stories that you'll be fascinated. You will not be able to put the book down. Hal Davis is our guest on the program and author of From an Outhouse to the White House. Send you to stratton-press.com. Book available wherever books are sold. And if you go to our website, you can link on directly to Stratton Press and get information on Hal's book. Were there disturbing things that you could think of, maybe one or two that you write about in the book that as a reader we would find fascinating?
Well, first and foremost was the loss of my only child, my daughter, Allison, at 10 years old in 1994.
That would have to be very difficult and something that would be with you the rest of your life. And I know you've sort of dedicated everything you've done in the rest of your life to her. That had to be difficult, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, a child of that age. And certainly has guided you, hasn't it, through the rest of your life? And I think you called her your guardian angel. She's still looking out for Dad.
Oh, no question. And it's up to me and other parents to never let them down.
Boy, and that is so true. There's that responsibility there, and they look to Mom and Dad to get them through situations. A few minutes left in the program. Boy, the time is going by so quickly. So you'll have to read the book, From an Outhouse to the White House, and then some, by Hal Davis. Talk about the state trooper aspect of that and the dangers involved in that, including, I would assume, trying to find escapees from prison. Boy, there's a lot of danger in that. We keep reading and realize, in fact, as we drive and we see a trooper making a stop along the road, how dangerous that really is.
Oh, it's increasing because of the traffic flow is much faster, much heavier.
Yes.
You can't get out there in the middle of the traffic like we used to do and just point at a vehicle and automatically it goes to the side of the road. And the respect for law enforcement has, let's just say it has ebbed over the years. And I trust and I hope that we get that back, because those folks, and as I did, we loved our jobs. We loved protecting and serving.
And so much of your career was that, beginning in the military with the Marine Corps. We've touched on some heavier topics here. From a lighter side, you had a number of those in your career in the various jobs. What were some of the funniest moments of your career, that when you even went back and you wrote about them, you had a sort of chuckle to yourself when you brought those memories back up?
Well, I met some people that in each of those branches of state, federal, military, local governments, that they were just natural-born comedians, and whether they knew it or not. And I just witnessed some things that, for example, a young trooper was all with himself, and he decided to make a move on this lady, and the lady, much, much older, somehow or another, took his gun away from him and radioed his headquarters and said, "Come and get this fool."
Oh, wow. Okay. That would
Needless to say, he did not remain with the patrol.
I was going to say, I hope he had another career lined up, something else that he would like to do, because that would be a difficult.
I'm sure he found that. Yes, sir. I'm sure he found that immediately.
And then on top of that, you can't keep it a secret because it's been broadcast on the police radio. So everybody knows the situation that you found yourself in. With all that you've accomplished in your life, and let me just go through these again here. Tennessee State Trooper, FBI Special Investigator, United States Secret Service agent to 2 U.S. presidents, a Marine Naval Criminal Investigator, a distinguished career in the U.S. Marine Corps. What's left on and a published author and a book cover designer? Anything on the bucket list, or have you pretty well checked them all off at this point?
Well, pretty much. When you've been to the Northern Lights, and you've seen the Southern Cross, and you've been circumvented the globe many times. You think you haven't seen it. I haven't touched it, and I can't wait to see the rest.
Well, and you've done extensive traveling. I mentioned the other book you're going to be talking about in the program here in a couple of weeks. Give us the title of the book and a little bit of the background, because you're sharing your life with all these great jobs that you've had with us in your book, From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some. Also sharing your travel. Talk about the other book that you've written.
Yes, sir. It's Beyond the Mountains and Across the Seas, 50 years of romanticizing travel. And I say romanticizing because you've got to learn to love it. It's not going to happen automatically. You can find all kinds of ways to enjoy travel. That's through total strangers. I just love to strike up a conversation and find out where they're from, who they know, and it's amazing how you have something in common.
Well, and it's interesting you mentioned that. There's sort of a mindset with that. And it's interesting, I would think, in all the law enforcement, the military jobs that you've been involved in and travel, maybe one thing that's common is sort of expect the unexpected. Is that true in everything that you've done? You never quite know what's going to happen next.
Absolutely. And it definitely, you said it is, you have no idea what's going to happen next. It could be instant terror, or it could be, the picking up and kissing a baby on the forehead. It is an amazing array of things that can happen instantly.
In all of that background, I got about a minute or so left here, and all that background that you had in the military, what you were doing there with the Secret Service, I would assume, is your head still on a swivel when you travel or out in public, looking around to see what's going on and sort of assessing the situation? I almost think that would become part of your DNA as many years as you had to do that.
Yes, sir. My wife, she reminds me, she said, your attention to detail is amazing, almost startling, as she says.
Yes. Well, in the jobs you had, that was basically life or death for you and other people if you were not really, interested in all of the detail and assessing all of the situations. The book is an excellent read, From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some. You'll find out about Hal's career with the military, Tennessee State Trooper, FBI Special Investigator, United States Secret Service agent to 2 presidents, Marine Naval Criminal Investigator. What an amazing career he's had. Now a published author. The book From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some by Hal Davis. You'll find it at stratton-press.com. His other book, Beyond the Mountains and Across the Seas, we'll talk about in a few weeks. Hal, it's been fun having you on the program. Look forward to having you back to talk about all of your travel experiences. Congratulations on the success of From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some. Thank you for being with us on the program.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It's been my pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. I wish we had more time. So many great stories, but they're all in Hal's book, From an Outhouse to the White House and Then Some. Hal Davis is our guest and the author of the book. You'll find all the information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, associate producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, segment producer. Ben Watson, webmaster. Otto Bechet, director of engineering and TV production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, executive producer of This Week in America.